Well, well, here we go again. Um, my life today. Um, it's Saturday. I'm here in good old Pittsburgh of the USA. The sunshine, but oh boy, is it cold out there. Woo, it's cold. I think it's like 24 degrees right now out there. And that wind, oh Lord. But anyway, what I want to talk to you about today is I want to talk mainly to black folks that are in my situation. This day is kind of boring. I've been working midnight lately. I was laid off. I got this job working midnight, and I ain't got to do nothing but, you know, be there, hang out there in the place and try not to go to sleep. And lately, it's been hard. It's been difficult. Um, just just hanging out there, and I'm gonna have to tell my new boss, hey, I put in a word for a shift change. I want it. I want my shift change. I'm gonna let her know that first thing Monday morning. But praise the Lord. I should have wrote some things down, but I guess it'll all come to me as I'm talking. I hate when I have to make a part two for everything. Um, I really wished today that I could just have rented a car this morning and went to go see my daughter, my one daughter, because she just had a baby. And I know that her living arrangement could be better. And I just wish I could be there for her, and but I can't. You know what I mean? I'm way over here in this part of Pittsburgh, and I don't have a vehicle. I'll talk about that in a minute. Um, so I can't go see my precious daughter and her baby, my grandbaby. Oh, my grandbaby, she's so precious. Oh man, if I had, there we go again, some more ghetto-fied nonsense. If I had the engine and that and all the stuff, I'd upload some pictures of my newest grandbaby and show them to you. But I didn't think about that. Number one, and number two, I uh, don't have that kind of engine with my software and everything because of the situation that I'm in right now. But it's Saturday. It's my day off. I usually don't have Saturdays and Sundays off. Now I got a job where I got Saturdays and Sundays off, but now I'm working midnight and it's killing me. I'd rather work Saturdays and Sundays and work 3 to 11 or daylight than to be on this midnight garbage. And this is the way it happens in black folks' life. I mean, you think you're getting ahead, and then the next thing you know, you're back down to making what, minimum wage, or you're back down to working midnight, or you're back down to working some rinky-dink job instead of a career. And it just seems like many of us black folks go through that. I used to live, getting on with it, I used to live in, I graduated here. Not too far from where I'm living right now. I graduated here near this part of Pittsburgh. In a better part of Pittsburgh, the school, I was living in a ghetto-fied, I'll call it that, part of Pittsburgh at the time when I graduated high school. And my mother died right before I graduated high school, but I graduated high school, and I graduated a very nice mixed high school. There was a little bit of mixture of everybody in there. Um, it was a good school and in a good neighborhood. A neighborhood I wouldn't mind living in. I mean, it's just, you know, and I would go to school up there, and then I would get in a cab because, I'm hearing impaired. So I didn't have to, I was able to go all the way out there to go to school. And then I got in a cab, and I had to go all the way back to the Lincoln Larmer, I think at that time I was living area. Lincoln, Leamington, Lincoln, and Larmer area. I think that's what we called it. I used to live right up the street from Leamington High School, those of you that know anything about Pittsburgh. And I drove all the way from out this way. I'm not going to give up my location. And I drove all the way out that way. And it was like two different worlds, you know, with the people that I went to school with and then the people that I actually lived with. And then you know, growing up in church camp and everything, that was another thing. I said this in another video about me growing up in church camp. The wonderful white people that I grew up with. I have a friend who lives far from here also. He helped me leave my grandmother's house and set out on my own right after high school. And, you know, me and him, we just got back together, started kicking it again just recently because I hadn't gotten married. And over the years, a few years ago, well, over almost 20 years ago, about 15 years ago, I was married, and nobody wanted to be involved in my life because of my crazy marriage. But anyway, I graduated from high school and I went traveling with this guy, and you know, we're still good friends to this day. And he, however, did one ghetto-fied thing. He moved me to a town called New Kensington. After I moved there and I lived there for a little bit, I wanted to slap him. Okay? If anybody that's from Pittsburgh knows anything about New Kensington, you know how ghetto-fied New Kensington became and how much it has always been a hit town of some nonsense, you know. But I lived in New Kensington for a while, and I left New Kensington, went to school, and I came back, and I got married and had children. And I told my children back in the day, I said, you know what? We're going to have to stop shopping in New Kensington. You know, because I was, most of the time, usually, most of the time that my children were small, I drove. I had my own car. And when I didn't have my own car, you know what I mean, because of my children, there were always people that were willing to help me get around and all that kind of stuff. But whenever I drove my own car, I told my kids, we're not shopping in New Kensington. And they used to love it because I would go clear across the world, you know. And they used to love it because I used to take them to malls all the time. And I'd get them all, I made them wear nice clothes, and I wore nice clothes, and we get in the car, and we, you know, I spent good money on my childhood with my daughters. I'm sorry. I spent good money on my daughters' childhood when they were little. Because I spent a lot of money taking them out. We went to museums, we went to we were always, like, almost every week going somewhere way out of the area to go get something to eat, and we would go to parks and stuff, and we just did things that I felt really, and I think they felt the same way, that it kind of bonded us together. But it was outside of New Kensington. I wanted my children to understand that there is life outside the ghettos. Don't be looking at all these people out here in the projects and all these people out here swagging and acting a nut. Don't I didn't want them to think this is life for black folks. I wanted to show them that life could be different for them if they choose to let it be. And my youngest daughter, she don't she don't really she don't really deal with black folks. I mean, all her friends um, are white. I didn't try to teach them to be prejudiced to their own people. They just followed my example, and I'll explain that in a second. And my older daughter, I have two stepkids too. Um, but my older daughter, my older biological daughter, she is engaged to a white man, a white dude. Let me shut up. And I'm not going to talk about that. And then my stepson, he's married to a white girl, a lovely white girl, and my stepdaughter, she also had some white people, white boyfriends in her time. She had a boyfriend one time that looked like Dan Aykroyd. I swear to God, that boy looked just like Dan Aykroyd. I told him, I said, will you please sit down with your Dan Aykroyd looking self? But, he talked like him and everything. I said, you can't date no better white dude than this. You gotta give me something better than Dan Aykroyd. Come on now. This ain't the Ghostbusters. Now she's married. She done really flipped. She's married to a guy from Nigeria now. I can barely understand what he's talking about. But when he gets angry, for the first time since they've been married, I've seen him get angry. And I could understand him a little bit when he's angry. Like, he's really loud and he's really, like, trying to explain himself when he's angry, So I'm beginning to understand him now. But anyway, moving on from there. I raised my daughters in the projects over there in New Kensington after I got divorced. And I ended up with custody of my two girls. My two biological girls. I raised them in that house. We had a big old house in New Kensington. And we had we had a drug dealing family. I mean, the whole family was like, a crime boss. I mean, the grandma was the CEO, and then her sister was the second in command, and then she had all these young troopers going out and selling drugs, and she was helping them, run their thing, and she was like, protecting them and making sure they stayed out of prison and everything, as long as they gave her cut, and I saw that mess. And they smoked weed on my property and teased me about it, and they would have neighbors come over from other parts of town and that, these swag heads, swag nuts, whatever you want to call them. Hip hop fans, gangster type of, hood rats come over, and they would smoke weed. Like, they couldn't smoke weed on her property. They had to come over next door to my property to smoke weed on my property. And I told one dude one time, dude, can you take that somewhere else? And he said, man, he said, look here, nigga. I'll come in there and I'll rape your wife. I'll beat you up and I'll rape your wife. I'll do all this stuff to you. I'm thinking, thank God I don't have a wife right now. But, you know what I mean? And thank God my kids are, out with some friends from school, because I'd have to put a hurting on this dude if he had to said that to me in front of my children. I'd have to pull that blade, that big old machete from behind the door there, and cut him a little bit or something, talking that mess on my side of the property, and that's a problem you run into living in the projects. But my daughters are all grown now, and I ended up homeless because around the time my daughters moved out, and I went back again for the third time. For the second time, actually, I was almost homeless again. And I ended up staying with a pastor friend of mine. And then I ended up in a town called Tarentum. And Tarentum is a town that uh, had a small ghetto in it, and there was nobody living in that ghetto but black folks. And Tarentum, um, they've really, really changed over the years. And they used to have the KKK lurking, or should I say, doing rallies there every twice a year. And I went to a predominantly white church up there in Tarentum. At the time, I didn't live up there back in the day, but I went to a predominantly white church up there, and the black folks that, and even the white folks too that went to the church would complain about the KKK doing their rallies in Tarentum, and but the mayor drove them out because they would try to come and have a peaceful rally, and black folks would show up at the rally and they would make excuses to actually put their hands on some of the black protesters. I mean, actually. And so they had to tell them, you can't come here and do any more rallies. So the mayor shut them out. They couldn't come back to Tarentum and do any more rallies. And ever since that they did that, the attitude of the white people in that town started to become more peaceful. I mean, there's still some rednecks up there, and there's still some white folks up there that are just uncomfortable about blacks, but most of them are much peaceful now than they were many years ago. Ever since, they stopped preaching segregation in that town. And that's only like about 4 miles up the street from New Kensington. And a lot of the reasons why they didn't want blacks in that town was because they figure blacks either come from New Kensington or they come from Pittsburgh. We don't want them up here. And I got to admit, there was a lot of blacks who would go and try to hide up there in Tarentum and ended up getting arrested. My one daughter's ex-boyfriend is one of them who had a habit of getting arrested up there. They banned him from Tarentum for domestic violence, and not only that, but other stuff that he was doing, like selling drugs and stuff like that. And the day that I went from being homeless to being blessed to live in a manor in Tarentum, I was just so blessed to be up there. And I had an apartment. I have pictures of it. Maybe I'll show them to you one day. I had an apartment with a big old window in it. That's the first thing you see when you walk into my apartment. A big old window where you could see the bridge almost in 3D going across my window. It went right on the Tarentum Bridge. You could see the whole bridge just going across my window like that. It was a beautiful sight, and on a sunny day, that's the best place you want to be, right there in my window. And anybody that ever came in my house, my apartment that is, that's the first thing they would see. They'd say, "Hey man, nice view," because it was a beautiful place. Beautiful, small apartment, very, very small. It didn't really have enough room for all my stuff, but the view was good, and the place was, it had its issues, but it wasn't no ghetto. It was housing, but it wasn't no ghetto. But like an idiot, getting to the point, I allowed myself to have trouble paying my car payment and my rent at the same time again. And it's funny how the white dude, the young white man that was up there, for like over a year, he kept on giving me breaks. We'd go to court. He wanted to evict me, and he just wanted the judge to say, and he told me, he says, I don't really want to evict you, but I have to do my job. So, for a long time, like over a year, he kept on giving me breaks, and he would let me catch up the rent. Well, the last time I failed to pay my rent, he got moved. He got moved. He went up. He went up the ladder. He got promoted and moved to another spot for the government. And this black dude came in and filled his shoes. And the black dude didn't even know anything about me. He didn't know my name. I went to him to let him know the notice I got about my rent. And instead of him, giving me a break like the white kid did, he decided to just because he didn't want to deal with it. So he just decided, oh, you're out of here. So I took, the notice to him, and I says, dude, you got to give me at least 30 days, man. That's not even a paycheck. How you expect me to move on that? He says, you got 15, that's it. So I was, boom, homeless. And to make a long story short, a white friend of mine who lives out here not too far from this ghetto, he lives in another ghetto that's trying to expand itself, just like New Kensington and just like Tarentum is trying to expand itself and be less of a ghetto. They're putting a lot of businesses and homes and stuff like that, just like they did up in Tarentum. They got rid of the projects and they moved, these wealthier homes in there. And when they did that, they drove the thugs out. So Tarentum is a very peaceful place today. And my friend that lives on the north side is becoming a better place today than it used to be. There's still shootings out there and all like that, but eventually, with all the reconstruction out there and all like that, I believe that's going to one day cease, because just like Tarentum, they're going to run all the thugs out of the neighborhood, and then all you have to deal with is those that are poor trying to catch up to the rich, which is the way it really is. If you really look at it, that's the way it is. So here I am in this ghetto right here. My friend got me in this ghetto, which is not too far away from the north side. And there's just so much stuff that goes on here that, in this neighborhood. I'm going to get to my point in a second. I went to the library just a little bit ago this morning, and I'm trying to work on my YouTube account at the library. And there's this white lady is being as ghetto as they get. And she knows what she's doing, but she is leaving it up to me to get mad first and say something to her first, which would have probably got me into, a little heated discussion with her black boyfriend or something. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not even trying to go there. I don't have nothing against. If you look at my videos, I'm totally against anything that says we can't be interracial. I'm totally against anything that goes against interracial relationships, because I don't believe God ever meant for anybody in the first place to keep it with their own. I don't believe in that nonsense. I believe we're supposed to mix. I believe we're supposed to mix for the purpose of our health, our DNA, the survival of our species. We're all supposed to mix. Okay? Because if we weren't supposed to mix, we wouldn't have changed colors when we all separated and moved in and went from south to north in the first place. Okay, that's another video. But the point is, this woman was being ghetto because, not so much because she was white, but because she just grew up in the ghetto. And that's what I want to talk about real fast. What I want to close with is, it's not black folks that make the ghetto what it is. I think black folks keep the ghetto going on. But I got so sick and tired of that lady doing that. I couldn't, And why are all these black kids at the library? Where are the white kids? I mean, like, the white kids go to the same school district, but they're at home with their parents on the weekends because, you're giving your kids to the school system during the week. You want your kids home with you during the weekends. And when my kids were little, my white neighbors felt the same way about their kids. Like, oh, it's the weekend. Our kids are going to be with us. And I remember, like, my daughters had their girlfriends over at the house, and their moms were calling them on the phone, sweetheart, you coming home or you going to be over Mr. Cruz's house all weekend? I mean, they wanted their kids with them, and I wanted my kids with me. I used to get mad when my kids wanted to go stay over at their friend's house because I figured, sweetheart, you go to school and then you do your homework and then you go over your friend's house. I figured you would be with me on the weekend, you know. But all these black kids are in the library like they got nothing else to do. Like they don't spend no time with their parents at all. They're in the library every day after school. Then they're in the library all day Saturday. If the library was open on Sunday, they'd be in the library all day Sunday. And they're not there learning anything. They're not there reading books that educate them. They're there playing PlayStation games or Xbox games. They're there, doing things that may be fun, like this white lady was doing with her daughter, but they're not really teaching you anything. You're just having fun. So, here I am today, broke. I got to deal with the ghetto-fied library. I'm stuck here in a neighborhood where Family Dollar is the most busiest place in town. I remember back in the day, I shopped everywhere. If I shopped, the lowest place I would shop was Walmart back in the day. That was the most lowest income or discount, I should say, store that I would shop at was Walmart. Like I said, I would take my kids up to the mall and we would buy at the mall. We would go out to Ross Park Mall way out here in North Hills. We would, and then Pittsburgh Mills, when they put Pittsburgh Mills right up there in my backyard. Oh man, that was great. Me and my kids were up there like 3 days a week. Me and a pastor friend, he has a daughter that grew up with my daughters, and the six of us, the five of us, yeah, the five of us would go up there at Pittsburgh Mills, and we would just hang out and have a great time. But you didn't see me and him in Family Dollar very often. You didn't see us at, Dollar Tree existed for years before I even realized Dollar Tree existed because I never shopped there. I always wondered what the store was about. I never shopped there. I was comfortable, with my income at that time. But here I am, stuck here today. Can't do nothing because I'm too tired to do anything. Don't have the money to do anything. Don't have a car to get around. So I figured I'd make some videos today. Here it is. There's two ways to get out of the ghetto or out of the black community. Now, white folks, when they say black community, they're talking about all black people in general. When black folks talk about the black community, they mean like the ghetto. Okay? The ghettos. Me, I don't feel I'm part of the black community. I feel I'm a middle class African American. And I don't feel or think that I'm part of the black community. I don't believe such a thing exists. I think we just have low income people, like this white lady today that was acting real ghetto. Okay? Obviously, she's not part of the black community, but she was acting real ghetto. I mean, I've seen black women act better than her. Okay? And she was just in a library acting a fool. Okay? But This is how you escape the ghetto. And I like to escape also the black community simply because I don't believe in it. When you say black community, that tells me you're talking about the ghetto. Okay? Because black folks that got money and cars and black folks that are safe and ain't got to worry about anything usually live in neighborhoods that are predominantly white. I know because I used to live there, and I got news for you. I'm going back there. Okay? I do not like this right here. I don't like this situation that I'm in right now. The minute the Lord blesses me to get on my feet, I'm out of here. Not because I hate black folks. I just don't like living with them. Okay? Especially these ghetto-fied black folks and white folks that live up here. Okay? But there is no black community. It does not exist. But here's the two ways of escaping the ghetto or the black community. First of all, stay in the house if you can't get out and move, which would be number one. What you need to do is stay in the house, shop wherever you can afford to shop at, but don't be letting everybody know where you live. Don't be kicking it with everybody. Don't be acting like everybody's cool because they just black, because they're not. We are divided as a black people, and for good reason. We are divided by money, culture, politics, and religion. Let me say that again. Money, politics, culture, and religion. We are divided as black people. I'm a Trump supporter. And I don't say that very often. But I voted for Donald Trump. I didn't vote for Donald Trump, obviously, because I hate black folks. I voted for Donald Trump because I believe in making America great again. Okay, and how do I make America great again? That's another video, but it don't mean taking black folks back to slavery or deporting them or none of that nonsense that never came out of Donald Trump's mouth in the first place. But I do believe that if you're going to be a president, whether you're black or white, you're there to be the president of the United States. There is no corner of anything for black folks. Black folks are Americans just like everybody else. You don't hear anything starting with the word Asian in this country or the word Spanish in this country except restaurants. There is no Asian Lives Matter or any Puerto Rican Lives Matter. Okay? Or Indian Lives Matter. We're all Americans here. And those that aren't trying to be Americans, whether that looks like a white thing or whether that looks like something else, if you're not trying to be an American, you lose. Because whether you want to say white people got that already fixed and set, and I have no problem with that, okay? Or whether you want to say that it's set by Americans. The point is, it's already fixed and set. So anybody that wants to go back in time and claim that something was stole from them or something was unfair to them or whatever, you need to evolve. I did another video on that. You need to evolve. But I don't believe in the black community. I believe ghettos is where all the low income people live. And if there's just like today, if there's black folks there that don't know how to act, there's white folks in the ghettos too that don't know how to act. Wake up, white people. That whole IQ thing is retarded. Okay, there's a lot of white people that don't have a high IQ, like that woman today at the library. Okay. But anyway, my point is, first of all, stay home and be careful who you expose yourself to. Try to stay most unexposed as you can. 2, move. Move into a neighborhood that's predominantly white, not because you're trying to worship whiteness or turn yourself white or be white or something like that. Don't move into some redneck neighborhood where white folks is going to be starting trouble with you, but move to a neighborhood to where your kids can be safe going to school, to where you can go and shop at other stores besides Family Dollar or Dollar Tree, you know, or a place, a place to where, when you come home from work, you have peace in your house. You don't come home from work and deal with racism and everything at work, and then come home and got to deal with black folks, getting on your last nerve. Okay, move, move to a place. And like I said, I'm only here because I screwed up. I'm only here in this neighborhood because I screwed up. If I, just less than 4 years ago, I was living like, the middle class man that I am. But now today, here I am, every day I walk outside my house, I got to look at somebody's boxers. Okay, look at somebody walking down the street talking about, yo, what the F, mother, people just acting goofy, But I'm all about a more civilized America. That's not against black people. I just think black people need to stop the nonsense and move to evolving. They need to evolve. I said that in another video. Forget that blackness. Forget that black denominator about everything. You need to evolve. Whatever that means to you, you need to evolve. So I'm out of time. God bless you. Thank you for watching. I hope you watch this video. I figure in order to make this video interesting, I'll give you my testimony of how things have come about. Don't get bored with it. Please subscribe. Leave a comment. All right. God bless you. I will talk to you soon. God bless.